Hello and welcome to this video where we're gonna look at how we can accumulate the elements of a stream using collectors. So streams was a big deal when it came in Java 8, and a lot of it has to do with the rich API and the more functional way of working with data. One of the things we could do with a stream was to give it a collector which could accumulate the elements of the stream. So we're gonna do that now, and we're gonna use this simple stream of articles which simply has a few titles, and you can see we have 3 Java articles, 2 Kotlin articles, and we have 2 authors, John and Luke, and we have a tag which we're going to use as well to play around with these collectors. Starting with absolute basic, we're going to take our stream of articles and convert it to a list of articles, and we're going to do that using a collector. So what we need to do is take our articles, and we want to collect them, and we want to use the collectors to list. Now, collectors contains several implementations of the collector interface, and it's these implementations we're going to play around with today. So the toList collector will simply convert our collection to a list of article. So now we can print it. As you can see, we have different articles in a list. Let's take the next one, which is toMap. So all we have to do is to take our articles, collect them with the collectors API, and we want to do toMap. Now, converting it to a map is a key value structure, so we need to define what we want to be the key for our element. So in this scenario, let's just make the title the key. So we can take article get title, and we then need to use the function identity. Now the function identity is quite simple. It returns the value it got as an input. So that way we get the article set as the value. So if we now print this one, you can see we have a map of article 1 to the article object, article 2 to the article object, article 3, and so on. Okay, so now we have looked at how we can make lists and how we can make maps. So now let's look at the joining collector. So the joining collector is again quite simple. Say we want to join all our titles into a nice little string. So we take our articles, and for simplicity, let's just map it to the titles. So now we have a stream of titles, and then we can use collect joining. So this one will just join our titles into one string. So printing this one, let's just take this, put it in there, and run it. Yep, so you can see we have Java article 1, Java article 2, Java article 3, and so on. But the formatting isn't really nice now, so let's improve this by giving this the delimiter. So let's just use a simple comma and space. And as you can see, it's nicely formatted. Okay, for the next example, we need to add a little bit more to our article. We're going to add something called a word count. So the word count gonna hold the number of words in the article. So let's just replace them with a few ones. So let's call this 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500. Now we can take a look at different collectors that works on numbers. So let's start with the average. Now the average does what it sounds like. It's calculating the average. So taking our articles, we can collect them, averaging int. Now, as you can see, we had doubles and long, but let's keep it to int in this example. And we can now say what we want to calculate on, and we want to calculate on the word count. So let's just verify that this works. Yep, so we got 1500 as the average. Okay, moving on. Let's now try out the summing. And again, it does what it sounds like. So summing int, again, we can send in our count, and this should now give us the total words we have in the stream. Yeah, 7,500. So the next one we're going to look at is also working on the word count. It's going to find the maximum and the minimum word count. So let's create max min. So let's now take our articles, collect collectors dot max by, and as you see, it's gonna need a comparator. So let's create one. Comparing, and this is gonna be compare int. Gonna need a printout as well. So as you can see, it found the one with the 2,500 words. Now we can also use the min by, and this will find the one with the least words. And it found the one with the 500. Now, as you can see, IntelliJ here is yellow, and it's all right to do so because we can also use the stream's min function and max function. But I wanted to show you that we can use the collectors API to do this as well. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is how we can do partitioning using the collectors. So let's say we want to split our stream of elements into two partitions. We want to split them on the word count, so we want to split those who are less than 1,000 words and more than 1,000 words. So let's just get it going. We have this partitioning by, and in here we can give a predicate that defines what we want to split on. So we're going to take our article and article get word count, and we want to say that everything that is more than 1,000 is one partition and the rest is another partition. So now we should be able to do a print on this one. And as you can see here, we have one with 500, one with 1,000, and then we have everything that is true, which is 1,500, 2,000, and 2,500. So that is working. Okay, so next one we're going to look at is how we can execute a collector on our stream, but then also do some work afterwards. And we're going to do that using a function called collecting and then. So let's create a test, collecting and then. Little typo. So we need to get our articles, then collect them, find our collectors, and then use collecting and then. Then we need first to do the collector we want to do, which is getting the average of our word count. Then we want to pretty print this, and we want to take average is so now we got our pretty print, and we can actually print this. And there we go. The average is 1,500. The next one we're going to look at is a simple yet very powerful way of grouping our elements into a map. So let's just start with something simple. And the simple thing we're going to do first is to group it by tag. Now the article has a list of tags, so let's assume that we just want to take the first tag, and that's what we want to group it by. So taking the articles, then we want to collect them, and we take our collectors, group by, and then we have the classifier defining what should be grouped with what. So taking an article, we want to say that the article's first tag. So now if we assign this just to a variable, we can print it, and we should get a quite cool result. So now we have that the Java is holding the Java 1 article, 2, and Java article 3. And the Kotlin key holds the Kotlin article 1, Kotlin article 2, and that's it. Now we can do more powerful things with this one. So let's not just have a list of article as the value. Let's calculate the total number of words for each of the keys. So let's just modify this one. So we have the grouping by, and we group by, first of all, the tag there, and then we can send in another collector. So we want to sum the average, right? So we just take the article, get word count, and of course this returns something quite different. It returns an integer. So now we have a map with the tag mapping to the number of words we have in all the articles for that tag. So if we run this now, the Java articles has a total amount of 3,000 words, and the Kotlin one has 4,500 words. So that's what this video gonna cover. Hope you liked the video, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more.